if we want to start with the Corporate Transparency Act, I still have not filed for any of my corporations under it, and I've sent a link to John to the FinCEN site where you file. There was a ruling in a federal court, a federal district court in Alabama, that the act is unconstitutional. However, it doesn't come with a broad injunction, and it only applies to the plaintiffs in that case at this point. However, we believe that the Treasury Department is going to appeal it to the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals, and it'll probably eventually get to the Supreme Court. And then we'll know for sure whether they're going to strike that law down entirely, cause it to be modified, or allow it as it is. I wanted to do my, at least one of my little companies before this meeting today, so I could tell you if I thought it was onerous or not. I've heard it's not that bad to do. And, you know, you might want to follow that link and just report it, you know, just so you can. If you form a new corporation this year or a new partnership or entity, you have to file it within 90 days. If you have entities that were formed prior to the first of this year, you have all of this year to file this. Personally, I don't think I believe that this is really going to help them fight terrorism. You know, I just don't see how that will. And I think it's particularly onerous that it's aimed at small businesses. But we'll see what the Court of Appeals is going to consider the issue of whether Treasury exceeded its constitutional authority to enact this. So we'll have to wait and see what the courts decide. And as you probably know, that can take several months. The second thing I wanted to tell you about is we've been following a couple of pieces of legislation in the Missouri House. And one of them is a proposed statute that would say that municipalities could not make you accept Section 8. They could not pass ordinances that say you have to accept Section 8. I mean, I'm in favor of landlords accepting Section 8 if they want to. You know, during the pandemic, the Section 8 money kept coming in, but recognizing that there's a lot of additional paperwork and inspections and things, and some landlords may just not want to deal with that. I don't think much of the Section 8 inspection system, but I don't think much of municipal inspection systems either. I think it's people's brother-in-law, you know, that don't have jobs that become inspectors, and there's a lot of craziness that goes on with that. But why should you have to deal with another level of that if you don't want to? On the other hand, if you have a stable Section 8 tenant, that's stable rent, and, you know, you generally don't have to come to me to evict them, which is sad for me, but I'll live. But I'm in favor of that legislation. I feel like we've got a Missouri legislature that's pretty dominated by the Republicans, who are generally going to be in favor of this legislation. But there's two Republican groups and they're fighting with each other all the time. So they don't seem to be getting a lot done. I talked to a lobbyist the other day who's just been stunned at how they're getting nothing done. And so it'll be interesting to see if they get something like this, which is fairly non-controversial, at least on the Republican side, through. What else have I got? The courts are just popping along like they should. We are between judges in the county, so we're getting judge of the week, but that works okay with us. We get along with all the judges, and they are generally willing to, you know, get things done and roll pretty quickly. Our judge in the city is still settling in a little bit, and she's a little afraid to set a lot of trials on one day, and we've been having delays that are a couple of weeks longer than we would like sometimes for trial settings. But we're hoping that she's starting to trust us and see that we can resolve all this stuff and get everything done in a couple of hours, and that she'll loosen up those guidelines a little bit. I think she already has. She was telling us initially we could only set 4 trials a day, and now she's letting us set like 10. I would like 20, but we had, I think, 8 set Wednesday of this week, and they all either settled or were defaults. So every time we have a day like that, I think it's giving her more confidence that she can get all the work done, even if there's more trials than she thinks she can do. And the other counties are all, I mean, everything's fine in our counties right now. I think, I don't know of anybody that's having a big problem. I think the city sheriffs might be still somewhat behind, but I don't think it's as bad as it was. One thing that is bad is county garnishments and executions. They are doing the landlord executions fairly promptly, but garnishments are taking a long time to pass through the system, and it's due to lack of help in the garnishment department. A couple of key people left, and they're having trouble, like everybody is, hiring new people and getting them trained and that kind of thing. So they've got a big backlog. I think it's between 60 and 90 days right now between when we file a garnishment and when it gets issued. And we would prefer it would be, 24 hours or a couple of days, like it always has been in the past. We also had a problem where an employer that we had garnished stopped payment on a check. And I don't know exactly what the date details were, but apparently the garnish department had not hung on to that check long enough before they sent it out to us. And we have standards for when we clear checks, but we always thought that government issued checks were fairly safe. And they said, yeah, no, we're, going to stop this check because the employer stopped payment. And they didn't seem to be too excited about doing anything to the employer or following up on it. So this has caused a hassle for our bookkeeping. I'm not sure which client it was. It's one of Christine's files, but if somebody got called and said, hey, send us that check back, that's why. We hold checks until they clear before they send them out to our clients. But like I said, we always thought that the government was a safe vendor of checks and that they held the garnishment checks long enough to be sure they've cleared. So we'll see how that all ends up. Hopefully they will hire some more people. If anybody wants a really crappy job with long hours and low pay, apply at the county. They're hiring. They do have, I hear, good benefits and a good pension plan. I can see you're all rushing away from your screens to go file your applications. Okay, good. So I think that's all I have that's new. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, if you don't have any questions.
Okay.
Oh, somebody's raising their hand.
Yeah, I do. So I know that they put in the alderman did about air conditioning have to be allowed. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I've read that. Did they pass that?
I think I got different updates. I don't know for sure. I was just curious, what you think, if that's gonna pass or not.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if the city aldermen are up to no good. They're the Housing Solutions Coalition that I'm on and that John's on, and maybe a couple
Yep.
other people here
Me
have been
too.
following some of that. We've been getting updates from Maureen, but
Mhm.
I don't know. I know that one board bill, well, the one that I was concerned about more than the air conditioning was the mold.
Mhm.
And I did send back comments to Maureen that, there's a lot of different kinds of mold. And a lot of mold that a tenant experiences is because they don't use bleach or they don't clean their place and, that kind of thing. And then you get that whole, circular interaction where, oh, I have mold or I have bugs or I have this or I have that. Well, okay, I'm the landlord. I'm going to send somebody out at Tuesday at 1 to fix that. Well, no, they can't come in. So they probably don't want you to see their poor housekeeping and the cause of all this, stuff. So they don't want to let you in. But generally, I mean, I've had trials with mold before, and generally the kind of mold that's really dangerous doesn't really exist in Missouri. And most molds will go away if you clean them. We get a little yellow mold on the roof of our shower sometimes, and my husband just squirts it with bleach and it's gone, in a minute. So I'm concerned about this board bill 223 in the city, that it's not defining what the mold is and differentiating between molds that are poor housekeeping and molds that are actually dangerous, of which I don't think that exists that much. And again, you know, there's never any burden put on the tenant. The tenant should have to clean the place up, keep the place nice. Okay, so Board Bill 226 was the safe temperature in rentals that, oh, because of global climate change and blah, blah, blah. You know, there's been heat waves and everything's hot and la, la, la. And so you have to have, air conditioning that can keep the temperature between 68 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit from June 1st to September 30th. And my comment to Maureen, our lobbyist, on that was, there's nothing in here that talks about the tenants paying their electric bills. And most of the time when we find issues with air conditioning or that kind of thing that are brought up, the truth comes out and it turns out they didn't pay Ameren. So that's why they don't have air conditioning, because their electric's off, or they're running the extension cord from the other unit and, you know, using their electric or whatever, which is dangerous. But, so those were the comments that I sent back to Maureen, and I never got anything back or heard if those two board bills were enacted by the city or not. Can you tell by my tone that I'm a little done with the city? And I live there. So,
Hey, what were those temperature ranges you had, Kathy?
68 to 85.
And it just has to be able to cool to that during the summer?
Yeah. And, you know, I just feel like this is another thing that, oh, you can complain about this and you can report it to the Citizen Servants Bureau. You can do this, you can do that. It's just another aggravation the landlords are going to have to deal with. And there's no similar burden placed on the tenant. Oh, I know the other thing that we're watching, the tenant right to counsel. They're supposed to be starting that July 1st. And there's going to be an obligation on the landlord to send a notice to tenants that they're planning to evict, giving them the information about how they can get an attorney through this right to counsel. And the scuttlebutt I hear is that they haven't even hired a coordinator for the program yet, and they're not anywhere close to having this set up. So I don't really know what our obligation is going to be on July 1st if there's no program to refer them to. But we're continuing to watch that, and hopefully I'll have more information. Or hopefully maybe I won't. They won't get it done. They're not getting a lot of things done in the city right now. So we'll see, I guess. As attorneys, we're not too worried about attorneys getting appointed to represent tenants. Sometimes that's easier than dealing with the crazy person. And if we have to try the case, you know, you have a tenant's not represented and they're up there waving their cell phone at the judge. Look, I got this text from the landlord, you know, and it's annoying. And generally with the tenant attorneys that are around, you know, we get along with them, we work with them, we can usually work something out. We don't have to try too many cases, and they know that from our point of view, we're not afraid to try the cases if that's what we need to do. And so they can't keep jacking us around trying to get the cases continued out with no action happening, no rent being paid, or, you know, whatever. So we had heard gossip in court, which I have to tell you that when you go to court with all the lawyers sitting up there at the front tables, all we're doing is gossiping. That's all we're doing. We're talking about the judges, we're talking about, you know, the aldermen and everybody else. So the gossip in court is that legal services is going to be the one to do the contract for the city for this tenant right to counsel, but the legal services lawyers haven't been told yet and don't have any information, that kind of thing. And I think they'll tell us when they know. So I'll keep you posted on that. Anybody got anything else? Wait, is Dave Soto running for state rep? Oh, hey, Dave. Vote for Dave.
Yes, I am. It's official. I filed last week, so I'm on the ballot.
Is this like in Cape Girardeau or something?
This is District 145, which is Perry and St. John County.
Yeah, we've been to St. John County for court, but we don't vote there. Sorry.
You can still support.
Yeah. Go Dave. Anybody
Okay.
else have?
This is Adrienne Fairbanks. I'm with Cliff.
Hi.
Hi, we had posted a question on service dogs.
Oh, wait, I didn't look at the chat. I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, you
that's
guys.
okay.
Okay. Service
the-
dogs.
Yeah, what
Okay.
was your
I
question?
had a couple of questions. The situation we have is we have a 3-bedroom house and we rent out one of the bedrooms to our son and the other 2 bedrooms we rent out to roomers. And the situation is as far as service dogs, let's say one of the tenants is allergic to dogs or allergic to animals or just doesn't want an animal in there. Do you have to allow a service dog or an emotional support dog,
Yes.
even though somebody's allergic?
Yeah. There's no exception for that. I mean, do you have any way to otherwise turn the tenant down? Is their credit poor or anything?
Yeah, well, this is just a theoretical thing right now, because we have the rooms come up for rent every now and then.
Yeah.
So anyway, other than, we can't just do it because somebody's allergic to an animal.
Yeah, I don't agree with this completely with the service dog rule. And I really think the emotional support dogs are, I think that's a lot of crap. But I have successfully evicted service dog tenants before because they didn't follow the other rules. Like they're supposed to pick up after their pets and, that kind of thing. I actually had a jury trial versus EHOC, which has gone away now because apparently the founders were doing funny stuff with the money, but in St. Louis County, where there supposedly was a service dog and we were supposedly discriminating because of the service dog. But there were actually 4 dogs, only one of which was an emotional support animal and had kind of a hinky looking certificate. And we had video from the lobby of the building of the 12-year-old who looked like she could play for the Kansas City Chiefs. She was large and breaking into the mailboxes and stealing people's mail. That
Oh, boy.
That, in addition to my good looks and winning personality, totally got the jury on our side. So we won.
Good job.
So, service dogs might be something that might be better to address specifically, case by case. But as a general rule, they're allowed to have service dogs, and you're allowed to request the purpose of the service dog and get the documentation, the doctor documentation that it's a service dog. I feel
a
like
service dog?
I could maybe win a trial that there was some sketchy internet service dog certificate, but you don't necessarily want to go through that. And I'm not
Yeah.
sure about the allergy thing. I've thought about that a lot too, because I'm allergic to cats and dogs, and you see these purse dogs getting loaded onto the airplanes, and it's kind of like, oh, don't sit by me. But yeah. Okay.
So,
Did
can that
Dwayne have a
emotion-
question? I'm sorry.
Oh, can that emotional support dog, can that be a vicious breed of dog too?
Well, I don't think you're allowed to discriminate as to breed, but if they don't control the dog, we can evict the person and the dog. If they don't
Oh.
control it, they don't pick up after it, it bites somebody, yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
And
where'd
just-
Dwayne go? Dwayne, did you have a question?
Well, no, I saw what Bruce put on there, but I don't know what that's about. But this service animal thing, I read up on that online and it said for a service animal, you can only ask 2 questions. And one of them is, is it that? And the other one is, what task is it trained to do?
Right.
And
right.
that's it.
What's it for? Yeah.
But on the emotional support, you can end up getting to ask for the documentation. Isn't that
Hmm.
correct?
Yes.
Yes. And then if they don't take care of them or have them under control, then Kathy gets them and throws them out.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really pretty simple when you read it.
Give me a nice video of the people breaking into the mailboxes and I'll win it every time.
Thanks, Kathy.
Yeah. And I know I haven't heard anything about rent control.
Are you
I don't even know if there's anything pending. I'm looking and I'm not seeing anything in my list. But I don't think the Missouri legislature would pass that. The city might.
Yeah, I've heard, obviously, they had it in New York, and California has parts of it. And I think I even heard that some parts of Kentucky and Ohio were looking into it or had passed regulations. But yeah, like you said, the Republicans, even though they fight each other, would probably not pass that in Missouri, but the city might.
Yeah. And then hopefully the legislature would pass a statute saying that municipalities are not allowed to do that. There's also a bill in the state legislature to stop eviction moratoriums, you know, like we had during the pandemic. But that's not really going to help, because the moratoriums that we had that were onerous were done by the courts, and the legislature can't regulate the courts in that way. So nice thought, but I don't think that's going to have a lot of effect, and hopefully we won't have a pandemic again in our lifetimes. Anybody got anything else?
Yeah, but-
Didn't Dave have didn't you have a website about the service animals that you shared with us before?
Yeah, there's so the Biden's, or actually the Trump administration put out guidelines for the service animals. It was very specific. So see if I can find that real quick and I'll share it with you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Kathy. It's great updates. A lot going on. I know the July 1st deadline's coming up fairly quickly.
Yeah.
A lot quicker than we think, and there's nothing in place. That's kind of got my concern a little bit. And I think we ought to keep an eye on that. So,
Well, you know, if they don't have it in place by July 1st, I don't know how I can tell you to comply, because they're not going to have their information ready. So we'll see.
maybe we'll send them all to you.
Yeah. Great.
What's the July 1st deadline on? You're
That's
talking
when
about?
the city is supposed to have their tenant right to counsel operation up and running. And the obligation on the landlord is going to be, if you're going to evict somebody, you have to send them a notice telling them how they can hire their own attorney. And we will send those notices, you know, for our peeps. But we'd just like to, they're supposed to generate a notice with this information, and they haven't done it yet, because I think they don't have the attorneys set up yet. And if they do it like they are doing it in Kansas City, which it's modeled after, in Kansas City, apparently, they opened the phones at 9 a.m. on Monday, and like the first 12 tenants get a lawyer, and then the rest of them get told, try again next week. They don't have enough money to fund lawyers for everyone. So there's just a few. And to us, that's just going to be, you know, in addition to legal services and Arch City, or maybe they'll be doing it. It's just not going to be a big deal to us. For people who like to do their own evictions, I think you should have caution if you get an attorney on the other side. We're tricky.
Oh,
Okay, guys.
had a question too.
Oh, sure.
As far as that rooming situation, we have the 3 bedrooms and we have 2
Yeah.
guys in there. Can they discriminate or say they want a male roommate rather than a female? Do they
I
have
don't
that
think
ability?
so. No, I think that's gonna be a violation of federal law. However, you have to have at least 4 dwelling units to be subject to that. And if that's the only rental you have, you're probably okay.
Oh. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, guys. I'll see you
Well,
next month.
Thank you, Kathy.
Okay,
Appreciate
bye.
it much. All right. Okay, let's see here. Some good updates there. We'll have the recording. It'll be on YouTube by midnight tonight in case you joined us late. It'll be on the website, usually by Monday, depending on what they're doing. I just have a couple updates, then we'll have Laura do her disclaimer, and then we can get started with our networking if you want. Let's see here. Just wanted to say our main event on March 19th, we are going to have national speaker Brad Sumrock, who is the apartment king. I don't know if you know anything about Brad, but he has kind of a scientific way he does apartment rentals, which is very interesting. And be sure to Be sure to show up in person if at all possible. He's going to join us virtually, but we are going to meet at our regular place at the Oasis Room in the Moolah Shrine Center over on Fifi. And we are going to have pizza for the first 50 people that show up in person. So you want to make sure you get there, and networking will start 6:30. Brad will come on sharp at 7 o'clock. He's pretty punctual. We also are going to have tickets for the we're going to have some door prizes and tickets for the circus coming up. The Moolah Shrine Circus, we're going to be a sponsor again this year, is from March 21st through 24th, and that's at the St. Charles Family Arena. We're also going to have some coloring books for the kids because, the circus is kind of geared around the kids, and we've just updated that. You can go to the website right now if you want to download your own coloring book, or we're going to have some paper ones there that we're going to be giving away, and so make sure you get that. Then a couple other events. Let's see here. On April 16th, we got Troy Galloway, who's he's a contractor. He's been a contractor for like 48 years. He's got a radio show and podcast and a couple things. He also does court depositions. So he's an expert witness that he's hired for, on both sides actually of disputes and things in the court. So you want to make sure you show up for him. That's on April 16th. Then on May the 21st, we have Jason Schroer. He's a St. Louis County housing inspector, so that'll be very informative. He was previously a firefighter for I think 7 years, I think. So he's very knowledgeable. He's going to tell us. I had a good conversation with him the other day, and he'll have more as we get closer to May. But he tells you why they look for things they do and how people try to get along around it. One of the things I really liked about talking to him is when there is violations, like he's had a couple of fires in the last couple of years since he's on houses he inspected, on dwellings he inspected, and he goes back and looks at these things, and he's constantly refining his inspections based on that. So he is all about safety. I know the inspectors, a lot of times it's kind of a friction point for some of us that we may think they're being nitpicky on some of the stuff, which I do think they are sometimes, but there are some good reasons why they do what they do. So bring questions, and that's going to be on May 21st. So that's the next couple of months we have already lined up. So I think that's all I got. We'll let Laura go ahead and give her disclaimer, and then we can get started with anything anybody wants to share.
All right. Good morning and welcome, everyone. First, I'd like to do a bit of housekeeping. Feel free to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. Please be mindful of everyone else by muting yourself while others are speaking. You're welcome to put any contact information that you want to share into the chat. We meet here to share deals, look for deals and solutions we have in need with our real estate. We are not your financial advisors, attorney, or accountants. We do not endorse or recommend any specific solutions or contractors here. You're advised to do your own due diligence to your own satisfaction before you invest. The first Friday of each month is Ask the Attorney with Ms. Katharyn Davis. Our meetings are typically recorded, so only share what you want others to know.
Thank you, Laura. Okay, there's some good updates with Kathy there. Anybody have anything they want to buy or sell? I guess we can start there. Anybody have anything they want to share with us? As far as properties go, I know we got a lot to look at. There's a lot of things changing right now, so it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next few months here. See, David Randolph's back with us. I know you were on some trips, I think, lately, and we haven't seen you in a couple months.
Yeah, I apologize for missing, but I'm sorry. The Caribbean wins out on laying by the beach. So yeah, I've been on a couple of cruises. With the, that's when we do these, is when it's really cold here in St. Louis. So that was good that it snowed while I was gone and stuff like that. But yeah, I've been at like several conferences too and cruises. But if you don't mind me sharing, John, one of the big things that affected me. So of course, these are real estate cruises. Okay, so we can write it off, right? Okay, and stuff. And I was actually even speaking on the cruise ship. They wanted me to speak on short sales, so I was working hard And so that was all a business write-off. But one of the speakers on that conference on the cruise, the topic, John, was AI. Okay. And if you don't mind, I'll share a little bit about some of what this guy was talking about with AI. And maybe everybody on here knows all about artificial intelligence and stuff, but it just blew my mind, some of the stuff that, this guy was talking about. You want me to share a quick 5-minute synopsis of kind of what I found out about AI and real estate and stuff?
Yeah, some people think it's going to take over and some think it's not. So sure, what did you find out, Dave?
Well, there's interesting aspects to it. You could almost say it already has taken over and you just don't know it. Okay. So there was the big warning that came out. So, there's about 100 of us on the cruise ship. And the first thing in the presentation was immediately get a hold of your family members right now, without your cell phone, without anything else, and develop a safe word, a word that you guys have that you can say that that word that identifies them. Because there was a real life true story that there was this company board meeting, and like a lot of these, they do these board meetings via Zoom. Well, AI, or let's say a bad guy, used AI to take over control of the board members. And during the board meeting, whatever took place with the AI, they convinced the treasury guy or the chief financial guy, whatever, to wire $12 million to a bank account for some purpose they believed was true. And it was all AI generated board members. Okay. And so the point to it is they've got this AI that can literally mimic me in my movements and my speech. So they're saying, get a safe word with a family member. So if you get contacted by something that makes it sound like your daughter or your son or mother or father, in trouble, it might not really be them. And so you want to ask, for what's the safe word? Well, the AI doesn't know the safe word, right? And so anyway, that was one tip with it. I think the general one, and people can contact me after this for more, because it was a big firestorm. We were talking about this after the presentation at night, and stuff on the ship. But it's really actually becoming quite useful. When you can take AI and tie it into some of the normal marketing tools that we might do and have it generate something for you automatically, that I think has got a lot of potential, John, where you can get a list of people that have permit issues, that, have missed a payment, get their phone number and get it DNC checked just with a couple statements, inside of AI, I think really is interesting. The next area I think that's interesting on it is there are these systems that can text back and forth somebody, and it's really hard to tell it's not a real person. Okay, it's two things have happened. They've taken the world of knowledge and they've also then basically letting you take your knowledge in real estate and put in what's called a knowledge base into it so that you can actually train the AI specifically for how you would have talked to that person, that seller, on a text message, and pretty darn well, convince him that it's a real person on there. But anyway, that's a quick report. I think there's a lot of power behind it. I'm definitely taking a look at it myself with it, and it is absolutely scary. There is no doubt about that on it. It's very dangerous.
Yeah, that's some great points, David. I know what we've had, the experience we've had with it, the better questions you ask it, like with the Chat GPT and some of that, the better answers you'll get, because a lot of the generic stuff is not really accurate, that we've found on it. And I know it even gets even deeper, like you said, with the text and stuff. I think I recently got contacted by one this week that I thought was somebody else. And then when I found out, it was not even them doing it. And I did not know the phone number. So, that was very interesting. So we'll see how this all develops. But I could see where it could be very helpful. But also, like you said, you need to use some caution with it. So we'll just see where that goes. So thank you. And yeah, I agree with you on the Caribbean sometimes takes precedence. I know Kathy Davis, she didn't join us in January because the ocean was calling her. So her and her husband took off for a while. So that was sometimes you just got to do that. Let's see. Oh, Dave Soto, you put the that link in there. So anybody that has questions, and I don't know, Cliff, you might want to click on that link and then and go look. That gives you it's very specific. I remember you talking about that, Dave, and that there's really not a lot of gray areas when it comes to your service and emotional support animals. It needs to be one certain way, and this might help you out a lot, Cliff, on determining what you're looking for there. Then we got yeah, Jay, I see you're on there. Yeah, love your face there too, buddy.
Thank you.
Looks good. Yeah, if you want to save a couple words, I know you're a private money lender. Feel free to do that.
Yep. John, I'm a private money lender. And let's see, what do? I take care of fix and flips, fix and keeps, and refi reboots, and also commercials, what I do. So give me a call, give me an email. We'll help you. My email is jay@Roman, ROHMAN, nationwidehouses.com, and we'll help you out.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
I see Tiffany. It says, looks like you can't, let's see here. You have, you can't talk right now, but I know Tiffany has been looking for a place in St. Charles for her client. And I guess I'll just go ahead and read what she's got here so anybody watching the replay can see it, or hear it. Client looking to rent a 2-bedroom home or a dwelling around St. Charles area at the end of May. And I know it's a good time of year for a lot of us when the leases come due. They'd like to stay around the $1,200 or less per month figure. Tiffany has known this client for about 12 years. And so she can be a reference here. And her contact information is 636-299-0085. And Tiffany's email is tbarthomes@gmail.com. So glad you didn't have any dashes and dots in there. That gets a little confusing. So thank you. And then let's see, we're Michael Schaefer. Are you there, Michael, where you could unmute yourself and tell us what you're looking for there?
Yeah. So I'm an architect. I was working on development and realized that buying existing apartments seemed like it might be a good time to get into that. So I am currently on the market for a 30 to 100 unit complex and in A and B areas, B and C properties, and that's I've got my contact information in the chat. So if anybody finds something of that nature.
Would you like to also give it to us verbally for anybody watching the replay, Michael?
Sure. Yeah. So it is, my phone number is 636-579-9996. And my email address is shafe@okito.net. That's SCHAEF@OKITO.net. It's probably easier to text me than to call. Typically, we'll often decline numbers I don't know, but, trying to think. Oh yeah, I'd like to be all in at 70 to 80% of stabilized value. So after value add.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, be sure to tune in or show up at the Moolah Shrine Center for our main event with Brad Sumrock. I mean, he does things. I've known Brad just for a couple of years now, but he's been around for a while, and he approaches the the apartments in particular on a scientific, like kind of a standpoint. He was an engineer by trade, and he quit his $160,000 a year job once he got this all, kind of developed the way he does it. Very interesting. I mean, I've never been one for multifamilies. I've had a couple of smaller ones, but I think the smallest one he ever was involved with was like a 32 unit. So he does some very big things and deals with some really big players. So you might want to be sure you check that out.
Yeah,
So-
I know a little bit about him. I definitely want to be there. So yeah, thank you.
That'd be great. Thank you, Michael. And let's see, we got Dave, you got your contact information there, David Randolph. Let's see. Stacy, let's see. Now it's you want to unmute yourself and Stacy, and tell us about the insurance that you're talking about here.
I don't really know much about it. I know that I was at like a networking event, and there was an insurance agent there talking about how they've added special coverage for cyber fraud, and that included AI stuff. So if you're worried about it, you can potentially talk to your insurance agent and get additional coverage for you or your business to help protect any of that kind of stuff that might pop up. But while I'm here, I did want to talk about me and Soto Property Solutions. I'm Stacy Lowe. I'm a realtor in St. Louis. Michael, you might be interested if you want a property manager for the large complex that you buy. But we do property management in St. Louis and in SEMO area, in Cape Girardeau area. We handle everything from start to finish when it comes to your investment properties. So we can also help buy and sell any properties. So if you have any interest in property management, give me a call. You can email me. I can shoot you over a bunch of information and we can discuss details and move on from there. But yeah, we handle everything for you. We screen, market, we hold the security deposit. We do move in and move out inspections. We handle and oversee all the maintenance. We do all of your accounting every month and at the end of the year. So we're your one-stop shop. My email is Stacy, STACY at SOTOPS.com. And then my office line 636-305-3380. I'm extension 311. I'll also put all of that in chat. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Stacy. Yeah, we've been talking about, I know there's a lot going on in the insurance industry right now all around the country. I know people in Florida getting really hammered, in California too, with premiums and being canceled and everything else. And I know we personally have had some premiums that have gone up even without claims, and some things we even checked into that cost more than what we originally quoted. So I know we did talk about having somebody come in here and talk to us, and we really need to put that on the books. I know they're just busy right now. I know Jim Heiser's his son, Jeremy, he's one of our sponsors too. And he's talked to our group before, but he might be able to fill us in on some of this stuff. So I'll put a note down, see if we can't reach out to him, because that's, I know, a good subject for all this. Insurance is one of those boring things until you need it or something comes up. Nobody wants to hear about it until until you really have to. So
Yeah, just as a side comment, the Florida legislature recently passed some changes, and it sounds like they're going to have some new blood. I think it's 6 new companies at least moving back into Florida. So hopefully that'll start to ease the market there if people got properties down there. But that's yeah, I know that's been an issue.
yeah, thank you. Do you have properties down there, Michael?
I don't, but I've considered it. So.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well,
I
thanks.
wish I had, because when I had considered buying over the course of a year, I didn't do it over the course of a year. I think it went up $100,000 in value.
Right. Yeah, it's still way up there on a lot of the values or prices anyway. I don't know if the value's there, but the prices definitely are. Yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
hey, John, we picked up one in Sarasota kind of after the hurricane type thing, and just the Airbnb rent from it is just, covering your entire mortgage payment, easily, plus, going back up in value and stuff. Now, we had an unfair advantage. We'd already been looking before the hurricane. And so when the hurricane hit, we were ready to jump because we'd already examined the area, and been familiar with the area. And the hurricane just made all the prices, suddenly drop. And so we snatched one up, in that 6 months afterwards. And now, it's on an area. The problem with it is, John, that, you don't want to sell it, because it's making so much money on the Airbnb side of it, the rental side of it, right? And so it's kind of sad that it's going up in value. It's like, I want to sell it. No, wait. No, it's income, But yeah, it has definitely turned around down there.
Well, I kind of think the snowbirds are not going to stop no matter how many hurricanes they have down there. Because I know my experience, Sarasota is a good area because I know we used to go to Pass a Grill every year for for several weeks and months sometimes. And it seems like right after about Christmas, after the holidays, people from Canada and all over from the Northeast just fill up that whole area and they don't leave till spring. So I don't see that changing anytime soon.
And some kind of interesting side fact on that too. So Bradenton is just a little northish of Sarasota, right? 15, 20 miles, very near Sarasota. I was invited to go down there and speak to that group live on short sales. And so when I always do that, I do the research, on the county. And I was surprised there's over 45 foreclosures a month. Even though life is great, there's still foreclosures, short sales in Bradenton county there. So when we talk about how great things are, you got to always keep your mind open to, look, you're buying from a homeowner that's distressed, and it doesn't have anything to do with CNN and the news and how great things are. People have their own life situation, and so you always need to be mailing to people, reaching out and trying to help people with it. I was kind of shocked. I was afraid I was going to show up and do this presentation, which is good. But then you always like to show them, hey, here's some real homes that there wouldn't be any. And I get kicked out or run out of town maybe. But no, there was over 45 just in the past 30 days, that were homes being foreclosed on, even in Bradenton.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know they still have tax properties down there too. I don't know what it's like this year, but yeah, one of our guys in our group, he was buying the overages down there, and then as people were bidding them up at the tax sales, he was getting the amount. He made more on those than just buying them over the counter and reselling them, which was pretty interesting. So people are still people, no matter where you're at, they're still people. They still have things going on. There's still a lot of good stuff, but there's still things, we all have things come up. There's still divorces, deaths, all kinds of disasters that happen to people. I mean, that stuff doesn't go away just because you live in Florida. So, all right. And then we got, let's see, Heidi, were you still there? Can you want to unmute yourself? I know somebody was asking me for your contact information the other day. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
Are you still there? There you are. Yeah, I love your
Still here.
statue too.
I'm here. Yeah. Just looking for borrowers, myself and a couple of friends, private lenders. So yeah, we're looking to do more short term. Somebody had contacted me about a long term wanting to buy a rental. I don't think that any of us are interested in doing that right now, but we can do short term stuff. And the rates and everything are just going to depend on the deal and which lender it is and stuff. So, but yeah, feel free to contact me and I'll pass the information along to the friends of mine.
Thank you. And would you like to give your contact information verbally also, Heidi? I see you put it in the chat, but just so anybody watching the replay can get it.
Yeah. So my email address is HeidiSchaafsman@gmail.com. So it's HeidiSchaaf as in Frank, S as in Sam, MAN @gmail.com. And my number is 414-533-5335. And it's 414, not 314.
Okay. Thank you, Heidi.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, it looks like Tony, let's see, looking for recommendations for a structural engineer. Are you there where you can unmute and tell us kind of what you're looking for, Tony?
Yes. Hey, I am here. So unfortunately, one of my rental properties caught on fire. There's pretty significant damage to the floor joists. Insurance is saying that they just want to seal it and not replace any floor joists. So I'm looking for a recommendation on a structural engineer that's I guess know how to assess fire damage and can give me a better scope of work and what needs to be replaced and what can be salvageable. Just looking for a structural engineer.
Okay, this is your personal rental, a rental property of yours, Tony?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. I don't know if anybody has any recommendations. You may try one of our members, Pete Klarman, is an inspector, and let me see if I can get his information. You could maybe give him a call.
Okay.
He might at least be able to direct you in the right direction. I know I've used a structural engineer before, but that was when I bought a home with termite damage. Fire is a whole different ball game, and I think you need a specialist that deals with fires. So let me, yeah, here's Pete's information. I'll put it in the chat too, but his number is 314-477-5552. And it's Pete.Klarman. It's PETE.KLARMANN at bpgwi.com.
Thank you so much.
Try him. He'll at least get you in the right direction. If anybody else knows anybody that'd like to share, feel free. I'll go ahead and put this in the chat too.
Yeah. Hey, Tony,
All right.
Tony, I didn't find the guy that you can contact me after, but I found another guy that I did have in my phone named Joe Strain. Joe and then Strain, STRAIN. He's pretty heavy duty, structural type engineer with it. And so his phone number is 636-978-9459. Now, I haven't used them for a little while, so sometimes these people retire or something like that. But phone number is 636-978-9459. I'll throw that in the chat box too. And then the other guy that I know, used more recently on my houses, if you contact me afterwards, I can look that up on another document, basically.
Okay, thanks so much, guys.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Yeah. Looks like Renee put something in there. Renee, are you there where you can unmute? I can't really read that little thing. Okay.
You talking about that picture, John? John, I can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. It looks like she's trying to share a structural engineer here.
Yeah, I can read it. I pulled it on the screen over here. It's a guy named DONG, and the last name is HUYNH.
Oh yeah, okay.
The phone number is 314-899-0599. Registered professional engineer is what that picture says on there.
Okay, thank you, Renee. Yeah, she said she used them twice. Can't unmute. Yeah, I know Renee joins us from out east, and we're always glad to see you here. Thank you. I know you have some properties in St. Louis, and she's had some interesting ones too. So Renee would definitely know. I would definitely get a hold of them, and yeah, we can pull that off to the side. If for some reason you can't get a hold of that, let me know, and I can share that with you later here. So, all right. All right, thank you. Good information there. Some good context, it sounds like. Hopefully something we don't have to use too much, but when you do need them, they're invaluable.
Hey,
All
John,
right.
John, I got a little trick that I do on my rehabs
Mhm.
to share with everybody. You know how, we all know about like Woods Basement and Helitech and those other, structural basement companies here in St. Louis. They're very, very, very high priced. I mean, like Woods Basement is like the cream of the crop, right? Very expensive. And I actually, ironically, use them on short sales to give to the bank because they're so freaking high. But here's what a trick I found in, the rehabs that I've done, like 100 rehabs now, is to actually pay a structural engineer to determine what's really, really wrong with the house, and then get quotes to only fix that work. Don't let a Woods Basement type company give you a $40,000, $50,000, $30,000, estimate and bid, because they throw everything, including the kitchen sink. Spend $350 and hire a structural engineer to really look at what's actually needed. Then you've got the backup legally to sell that house with a stamped, approval, and then get that work done by a, professional, I don't know, licensed, but a professional contractor and stuff. So that's a kind of a little trick to try to do, on rehabs. That's helped me.
Yeah, that's a great point, David. I know Pete was talking about that, and I know I've done it in the past. People want to save on an inspection, even when you're buying a house, and even when we're kind of experienced. Sometimes it's worth spending the $500 or whatever for the inspector to find out what it is, and that could be a negotiating point, or it could set your true values. And I could see a structural engineer definitely doing that for you. You'd have a professional opinion, so that's a great point. And thanks for putting the phone number in there. That's Doug Dong, D-O-N-G. Okay, I'm not sure. H-U-Y-N-H, and his number 314-899-0599. So thank you, David, for anybody watching the replay, so you can get that. All right, a lot of good things, good discussions today. Anybody have anything else they'd like to share with us? We got just a couple more minutes left.
Hey, John, can I offer something for free to everybody?
Sure.
Next Tuesday at 11 o'clock, I am doing an update on the banks and what's happening with short sales. It's a 2-hour short sale presentation on what's going on with the banks and why they're dumping the houses. Totally free. Not selling anything to get in, not selling anything to get out. It's just a presentation on the status of short sales in America and what's going on, with the banks. I had a student last month in Chattanooga make $132,000 profit on a $280,000 house, and it was his first short sale. And so I'm going to explain why the banks are dumping houses right now on there. And so I'm doing a free 2-hour Zoom next Tuesday. Is it okay to throw that link in the chat box?
Sure.
On it. So you guys, everyone on here is invited to be on here for free. There's no cost. Or actually, if you text the word WS for workshop to 636-685-2990, it'll give you the same link to sign up for that free 2-hour. It's 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock Central Time next Tuesday. Thanks, John.
Okay. Anybody else got anything they want to share to us? Dave Soto, I see you're ready to go with your new the new chapter of your life, it looks like. So will that take away from everything you're doing now? Because I know you're a busy person as it is.
Oh gosh, no. There's no. I've got to have a great group of people running the company for me. I don't need to be here on a day-to-day basis. When this happens, there'll be some more that are going to take off my plate as far as things I really don't need to be doing. I'm just doing it because I just keep myself busy. I got Stacy up there, and I got a great crew down here, and so that gives me opportunity to keep my business and run for state rep. So state rep is not 100. It's technically it's not a full-time job. You're in session from January through May, and only 3.5 days a week, so 4 days a week, and so also have the opportunity to be involved with my business and with Missouri Realtors and with NFIB, and so I'm not going away.
But now, will you have to travel a lot to Jeff City, or can you do most of that from your own place there?
I'll be driving Jeff City every week. So
Well, you might be Airbnb there.
You arrive around noon on travel Monday morning, and session ends at noon on Thursday, and travel home for the weekend and back to Jeff City Monday morning. So
Well, we wish you
Oh, yeah,
well.
on Fridays.
I
I'll be
know-
on these calls, so have Fridays off.
And I know
But
State
I-
job here too.
but I've got to win, so.
Sounds good. All right. Anybody else have anything you'd like to share with us today? We're coming up on the hour here. We had a lot of good things going on today. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Be sure to mark your calendars for the 19th and then of March for Brad Sumrock. And then for the next couple events, if there's any if you have any questions on it, you can always go to the website that is STLREIA.com. And for it's usually fairly updated. If not, you can always get a hold of us or tune in every Friday, which we recommend anyway, because everything changes from week to week. So thank you all, and I guess we'll see you next week.